Well, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us today. I'm just giving just a little bit of time, obviously, at the end of school. One or two people join us a little bit late. But if I could just start by saying thank you for giving up your time to ensure, as it says there, you get the most from your NACE membership. So I think we get questions of this from, you may be a new school and completely new to NACE. Equally, there may be a new member of staff that has different responsibilities within the school or joined a new school. And indeed for our current members. So those that are renewing with us, I think this will be really helpful to give you an update to basically ensure that you get all of the very best resources and events that are included within your membership. So what I would do, just to start off, if I could just click on one there, it's useful for you if you can just put your name and school, if possible, just so that we can see who we have with us this evening. Throughout the session is being recorded. As with all of our webinars, we make them available to all of our members. So any webinar that's gone in the past is available again for members to peruse at a time that's convenient with them. But also the questions, if there's any burning questions that come out throughout the session for the first 30 minutes today, then please put them straight in the chat and we'll come to those at the end. And we're not, we're not planning to spend much more than 45 minutes total tonight, so we won't take too much of your time. We put some resources together, which I think will be really helpful to schools going forward and following feedback from last year. So we will go from there and we'll make a start now. So we did change our vision and mission last year, and essentially, for those particularly new to NACE, I'm sure those of you that have been with us a while and maybe just renewing to see what we have available will be aware of this. But we want a world where all of our young people, including the more able, have the opportunity to develop their ability without limits, as you see there. So no matter what barriers to learning they may face, and that comes with our latest research, which we studied last year and will soon be launching in this academic year. But also no matter what school they attend, it shouldn't make any difference to these young people. Just a list there of our core principles to read through. And I will just address the second bullet point. I joined NACE as CEO, having been in a school that was accredited with the NACE Challenge Award on 3 separate occasions. And I saw the impact it had by that focus on whatever we want to call them, but the more able learners, that teaching to the top, the impact it has on a much wider group of learners. In my school and our other Challenge Award schools, you don't see this group, leave a gap to the rest. We have the rising tide effect. And that is certainly what I saw in my school. So the reason I feel this is so important, it's not just that our more able learners have their own needs, but actually schools that address those issues and prepare successfully a curriculum and teaching and learning that meets the needs of the more able actually benefits a much wider group of learners. And that's why I'm passionate about this area of work and why I joined NACE as CEO back in 2021. So just a quick poll to give us an idea of who we have with us tonight. So it's just 2 questions. So what stage are you at with NACE membership? And secondly, you need to scroll down to the 3 options where you are with the Challenge Development Programme. While you're doing that, there were a few questions that came in very specific about the Challenge Framework and our Challenge Development Programme. That is what leads on to our Challenge Award accreditation. Laura's just going to, in a moment, pop in the chat an email address. Because rather than going through everyone's specific requirements there, the Challenge Development Programme questions that we had are much better answered by sending an email into that address so we can address those for you. Because as we can see there, 2/3 of the people here tonight is not on the radar, even slightly, it's going up and down at the moment, but a number of you perhaps aren't aware of the Challenge Development Programme. So again, if you have any questions on that, the email address is challenge@nace.co.uk. And if you send any of your questions in there, or interested, obviously, looking at what we have on our website as well, then we can obviously address those issues individually, or those questions, I should say, not necessarily issues, individually. So thank you for that. As we can see there with the NACE membership, completely new. So there's not too many of you, but some, as I've said already. So some of you may have a new role in school or joined a new school. And again, we've got some more experience of over a year. So I hope this will be useful to everybody this evening. And again, if you have any burning questions as we go through the presentation to start with, then please put those straight in the chat and we'll address those at the end. The person obviously running the webinar tonight as well is Laura. So those of you who haven't met Laura Bridgestock before, Laura's our program delivery, well, our membership and program delivery manager. And she'll be talking to you about some of our latest resources and events later on. So you won't have to listen to me for a full 30 minutes, which I wouldn't wish on anybody. So obviously Laura will be speaking to you shortly soon. So just to start with, the key guide here today, if you don't get anything else from today, we will be sending this link out to you directly. It's available on our website. But we've spent quite a lot of time and effort putting together a membership guide. We know how busy you are in schools. And you may have found a space for 30 minutes now, but we know how hectic it can be. Having worked in a state secondary school for nearly 30 years, the time scale of things just bombarding you and coming in all directions. So what we wanted to do, rather than just tell you what's available and how you get the best from your membership, we put a guide together there for you. So it's online with live links. If you follow that stage through, even if you've got experience perhaps of working with us for an over year, it takes you through everything that is available to you as a member. So particularly starting with all of the free events, the free resources, and also some of the events where you always get a member discount. So any of our CPD, whether it's whole school CPD, people buy us in to present in their schools, or whether it's some of our events, there is always a member discount on top of that as well. But the membership guide really concentrates on all of the things that are included within your membership. We've also been asked over the last year, actually, more requests for this. Perhaps you're a more able lead or you're a senior leader leading this within a school. So we've also put together a presentation there for you to be able to introduce what NACE is and what it does for your school as a member. So again, that's a new resource that we've put together this year. So if you are presenting to your colleagues, we've put that together for you to highlight some of the key resources and developments that we have, and obviously introducing what we're about. I think it's really important to emphasize that what we're trying to do is actually increase that cognitive challenge within the classroom consistently across the school so that students benefit, as I said before, not just the more able or the most able or whatever you want to call them, but actually benefiting the learning of a much wider group of learners. And then also leading perhaps to our challenge framework, we celebrated our 40th anniversary a couple of years ago now, and we put together 40 benchmarks, which we see consistently, the sorts of characteristics and things that we see across our really successful Challenge Awards schools. So there is a sort of a RAG rating. It's on Microsoft Forms, so it's not necessarily color rated in that sense, but it gives you an indication of where you are. If you're beginning your journey, it will highlight to you some of the areas perhaps that you need to focus on first. And as we said before, if you're then interested in engaging more in the Challenge Development Programme, which are the whole school audits, that's what leads to the NACE Challenge Award. But that's free for members there as well. It gives you an indication of where you are compared to some of our schools that have a great deal of experience of ensuring that this provision is not only brilliant in certain areas of the school, but how you get that consistent approach across a whole school as well. So they're three new really onboarding support. And as I say, those resources, there'll be a link directly to you following the webinar for attending tonight anyway. And that will also highlight to you where they are available on our webinar. But the membership guide in the first instance, I think is I would say this because we've just put it together, but it's a fantastic resource taking you through stage by stage how previous members have got the most from their membership. And then there's a couple of things we've introduced this year for the first time. Because of what we were doing in my school before I joined NACE as CEO, I had the pleasure of working as a NACE associate. And I've said in one or two events in the past, the privilege that was to go into other schools. I think as we get busy, sometimes it's difficult to speak to colleagues who are facing the same issues as you across other areas of the country. And what it did for me, frankly benefited my school immediately. I'd visit a school and I'd see something and I would just say to myself, why have I never thought of that? Introduce it in my school and see the impact that it had. Equally, there are some things I saw that were fantastic, but wouldn't necessarily work in my context. And I think that's really important. What somebody does doesn't necessarily work for everybody, but those discussions, that networking is really important. And we've also got schools that, for example, at our member meetups, where we run termly an in-person event for all of our members for free, we have our members often providing, a case study at those events. And it just strikes me that some of those case studies are full of fantastic ideas, and there's only the 20 to 30 people there that benefit from them. So the idea of the online member spotlights, a little bit like tonight, it's a case study where a school goes through not just what is in place, but the road to how they got there to address a specific issue in their school. And it will give the opportunity for hundreds more people to gain, not just from that networking, to be able to discuss that themselves, consider that for their own institutions, but obviously to meet fellow members. So again, that's a free event. That's going to happen half-termly, so 6 times throughout the year. And we're going to have a number of our, not just our Challenge Award schools, but some of our member schools where we think there's a particularly interesting case study that will benefit other institutions. So they've been put on this year. And equally, I don't know if there are any international schools with us tonight, but we've also introduced an international schools network along the same aim of being able to give an opportunity for you to network and share ideas with others. So that's just a couple of the new things that we've added this year. And our first member spotlight is going to be run by Brookfield Primary School. I was just checking the date. It is on the 21st of October. So if that is of interest, you can see the details of what they're going to be discussing. And obviously that is free for you to sign up now. So moving on to some of our resource developments. Laura's been at the heart of the number of these. So I will now pass over to Laura. And thank you, Laura.
Okay, thank you very much. Resource developments that we have planned for this year. So carrying on from last year, one of our big areas of focus this year will be continuing to develop our subject-specific resources. So building out those collections, which are within our members' resource library, which are really giving examples of what effective, cognitively challenging teaching and learning looks like within specific fields. So that's continues to be one of our key priorities for this year. More of those to come later this term. We will also be giving a refresh to the NACE curriculum audit. And so that will be coming up a little later on this academic year. And for those of you that haven't used that resource, do have a look. It's a really useful tool to help you review your curriculum across the whole school and at a departmental level to really make sure you've got that challenge built in at the curriculum level, and that's threaded throughout everything that you're doing. And last but not least, we're also excited about the Year of Reading 2026. We're actually kind of starting on that theme this week with our member meetup on Friday, which is looking at the power of reading. And we're planning some new resources for next year on this theme. And we're also really keen to hear what schools are doing. So if you are planning within schools to do something special around the Year of Reading, please get in touch. We'd really love to hear what you're doing. And as Rob's been saying, it's all about sharing that practice, sharing ideas between schools, and just giving those little moments of light bulb moments. Oh yeah, we could take that, we could use that in our school as well. And then an update on our research programme. So those of you that have been involved with NACE for a little while are probably familiar with our Making Space for Able Learners research initiative. This was launched back in 2018, aiming to bring together and share in an accessible way the research and evidence around effective practice for more able learners. And we've worked on this really in close collaboration with lots of our member schools, and especially schools which hold that Challenge Award accreditation. The first 2 publications in the series are available through our website. So if you haven't seen those and you're interested, have a look online and you can get a copy. And the third in the series is in progress now. And we shared a project overview with all of our members at the start of this term in our postal mailing. So you hopefully have a copy. It's also available online. And I'll share with you here, these are some of the main themes that phase of research has kind of been exploring, and areas where we've seen, and as Rob's been saying, you know, it is really about this this whole school approach to approaches that can improve the experience for all learners, and really about equity. So making sure that every young person has the right support, the right level of challenge, and is able to achieve as highly as possible. Yeah, regardless of their starting point, you know, as Rob, you know, kind of highlighted in that vision statement, this is what it's all about. So these are some of the themes explored in that research. Launch date for the full publication coming soon. So watch this space, and we'll be considering as well how we can share some of the key takeaways from this with all of our members over the coming year through our resources and our CPD programme as well. So upcoming events, we have already mentioned some of these. I just mentioned the member meetup, which is actually happening this Friday, so very soon. So this really is the last call to register. If you haven't yet, you can go on our website kind of immediately after this session, and book a place. But yeah, so we're really looking forward to that. It's great when we can to bring our members together in the same room, sharing those ideas in person. We've got lots of other events coming up, so just a few of the most immediate ones. For those of you whose schools hold the Challenge Award, the Challenge Award Schools Network Group is next meeting on the 8th of October. So go online and register for that one if you haven't yet. And then on the 9th, we're running one of our one-day courses, and this is a great course if you're relatively new to this area in particular. So if you're relatively new to leading on challenge and more able provision, this is a great course, and that's an in-person course coming up a week on Thursday. And then Rob's mentioned our very first member spotlight session coming up on the 21st of October. Lots of other events though, including lots of live webinars. So do have a look at our full calendar. And then also very exciting for this year, we've got two multi-part courses, a 6-part course exploring how to support more able but under-resourced students, which we're running in collaboration with Matt Bromley and Andy Griffith. And that starts on the 16th of October, so just 2 weeks away now. And then a 4-part course on metacognition, which we're running in partnership with Roger Sutcliffe, who's created the amazing Thinking Moves A to Z. And we had a webinar on that last week, which is available to watch back if you missed it. So a really great model, I think, for that kind of support throughout the year to help you develop, embed in school, come back together as a group, discuss what's working. So if you're interested in either or both of those, do go and have a look on our websites or get in touch if you've got any questions. And then just to take a step back, really, so kind of a reminder of our membership offer. So the idea with this session, as Rob said, was really to introduce some of our new developments, things that we've launched, things that we are planning to do this year, so that you can keep that in mind yourselves as to how you can get the most out of your membership this year. But for those who are still quite new to NACE, this is a reminder of what's included in the membership. So you've got the resource library, lots and lots in there, and the guide, which Rob mentioned, the new guide talks you through that a little bit more to help you navigate what's in there. We also have a short recorded video on that Get Started webpage, which takes you through the resources. I'm also more than happy to do a call and talk you through and help you find what you need, if that will be useful. The community events, that's a mixture of in-person events, such as the member meetups, and then online events, such as the member spotlights. So those opportunities to really share, hear from other schools, and yeah, kind of get that cross-pollination of great ideas going on. Linked to that, the live and recorded webinars, and the recordings are a really great resource to go back and explore, actually. So we've got quite a an extensive library of recorded webinars now. So if you're well, whether you're new to NACE or not, really, it's worth going back to sort of refresh your memory as to what's available and how that might fit into your either individual or school or team CPD planning for the year. Lots of additional CPD and events in pretty much every format imaginable now. So yeah, keep an eye out, as Rob said, for making the most of the member discount that you get on all of our additional CPD. And then the member offers, again, it's worth just checking back to remind yourself about what additional offers are available. So lots of discount codes in that section of the website where you can get a better deal from lots of other organisations that we partner with. And then finally, the Challenge Development Programme there, which, as Rob said, we're not going to go into lots of detail today, but if you do have specific questions about that, we may have time to answer them in just a moment, or you can email challenge@nace.co.uk. And finally, just to flag once again, that Get Started webpage there is worth having a look. That's where we've put all those new resources to help you really make sure you're getting the most out of your membership. So much, everyone. Really nice to see lots of you. See lots of you again soon, hopefully.
Thank you, everyone, and we look forward to hearing from you again soon, I hope.